Well, my husband, the man that I've loved for quite some time now. I thought he was legit the perfect human. He was sweet, he was caring, he was nurturing, he provided. But what I realized is something so devastating. Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now because there's so many details I have to fill you in on. He had another family. And if you're wondering, well, does his family even know? She had no idea. I'm going to confront her, but first I'm going to gather some evidence, and I'm trying not to tip off to him that I found this out. But first, let's start from the beginning so you can understand this nightmare. A week ago, I was the happiest person and considered myself to be one of the luckiest few people who had close to no problems in life. So believe me, I had no idea how much of a difference a week can make, given that something significant happens. And well, this past week has turned my life upside down. I'm sitting here wondering if I've never picked up the call from my friend, would I be here right now? But that's not something that I want because I would rather know the secret my husband had been hiding from me than stay in the dark. But now that I know it, I don't know what I should do. Every time I think about it, I feel like my mind is going to explode. That's why I'm writing here in hopes of finding some good suggestions. But first, let me explain everything. My name is Rachel. I'm 34. I've recently discovered that my husband secretly has another family. That's right, a whole nother family. This has been a very shocking discovery, to say the least, if I'm being completely honest with you. Well, because our marriage was not like any other marriage. I know everyone likes to think that they're special, but in our case it was true. We literally have anything we could have ever wanted, so this is definitely something I never expected. To give you guys a brief background, I come from a very wealthy family, and I own several businesses. Adding to the fact that I was born rich, it's pretty clear that we were never going to have any financial issues. Everything else in our marriage was good too, so I'm having a hard time understanding what happened. I met my husband Rick for the first time in 5 years, and I was tired after attending countless meetings, and he had just given an interview. To rest, I went into a cafe where he asked to share a table with me. There were a few tables available, and when I asked him why he wanted to sit here, he tells me that he wanted something, well, to talk about with someone. I looked as tired of life as him, and I lied about myself because I didn't want to tell him that I had just scolded the owner of the company that he had just interviewed at. He was very charming, very intelligent, and did not seem to care about money at all. He was a middle-class person who had tons of money problems, but did not seem to care about it much. He was very interesting, and he made me laugh non-stop. After a while, he gets up to leave, and I had to ask him for his number myself. He said he didn't want to make me uncomfortable by asking for my number. That was the start of our relationship, and even thinking about it brings tears to my eyes. Before this week, I considered Rick to be the most perfect husband, an amazing human being ever. He never failed to make me laugh, and I mean never. And he never even got mad at me once. After a few dates, when I told him the truth about myself, he did not even seem very surprised. He said that I gave him a rich vibe and joked that it was the reason he approached me. I wonder if this was actually true. Initially, I was really scared that me being wealthy would affect us, but it never did. Rick did not really care much about how I made or spent any of my money. He never thought about money. He made me very, very happy, so when he got down on one knee and asked me to marry him, I screamed yes. We've been married for the last 3 years, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't the happiest I've ever been. Until last week. After we got married, I asked him to quit his job and help with mine or just chill and do what he wanted. But he refused. Even though the place he worked was far and he had to put in a bunch of hours, he loved his job and told me he didn't want to quit for now. He also said that he would get lazy if he depended on my wealth for everything, and I understood. It actually made me happier that he chose to do his own thing. The only problem I've had with him was the fact that he did not want children. Now, let me make it clear. At first, I was not really interested in children, but over the years, I've changed my mind. But when I told him that I wanted to try, he said that he wasn't ready. After a little bit of arguments, we settled on waiting a few years and then trying. At this point, I assumed that he was scared of having a child or something, but I now know that the truth was not that. Or at least I think I know. Okay, let me jump to 1 week ago. So, a week ago, I was talking to one of my buddies, who, while having a normal conversation, tells me that I was the type of person who could never lie or be sneaky. I obviously could not let that slide, and tried to lie to her about all the times I've been sneaky,
but she caught me. So I told her I didn't have the opportunity, and she asked me sneakily to spy on the contents of my husband's phone, so I agreed. I also had to do this while I was speaking to her, so I picked up a time when he was distracted and slowly grabbed his phone. Now, I had never once checked his phone like that because I never really had a reason to do so. I fully trusted him and loved him, and that turned out to be a mistake. As I had imagined, I did not find anything interesting on his phone since he did not use it as much either. He wasn't too big on social at all and rarely used any of it. He also did not have many friends, and he had no family left in the country. But I did not find something that scared me a little bit. It was right there. It was a message from an anonymous person. It really sounded like it was from a girl. She was asking him when he was coming home, and he replied, "Sometime this week." I tried looking for more, but there was nothing else to find, and I did not tell my friend about it, and after I cut the call, I kept thinking about it. I fully trusted Rick, but even after 2 days, I could not get that thought out of my mind. No matter how much I wanted to forget about it, I could not, and I neither could gather the courage to ask him. I loved him so much that I did not want him to think that I was doubting him, which at this point I was. Rick was acting normal as always and actually asked me if something had happened. I lied and told him I was just worried about a decision I was making, and he assured me that I would make the right move. He tells me that the woman whom he married did not make mistakes. Yeah, funny enough, this gave me the confidence to actually do it, and I had him followed for the rest of the week. The entire week went by pretty normally, I'd say, and I was happy about it, but my happiness did not even last a few hours because they asked me to see for the results. This meant bad news, clearly, because it meant that they found something substantial that they did not want to tell me about over the phone. The people I hired told me that unfortunately my husband was indeed a cheater, but it was far worse than I could have imagined. They showed me photos of my husband entering a house and then the photos of the people who lived in it. It turns out my husband has a girlfriend and a child. You want to know the most funny and made-up part is the son is close to 5 years of age. This means that he has had this girlfriend and child longer than he knows me. The people I hired gave me everything they could and to find on the child and the woman. It was all normal information. Also, my husband was supporting them since the girlfriend was an online tutor. I learned about all this yesterday, and my mind was screaming that he is innocent, which cannot be the case at all. Yes, there's a chance that she is an ex-girlfriend who told him that she was about to give birth as soon as we met, and he didn't want to destroy what we were building, so he didn't tell me. But if that was the case, he would have mentioned something like that years ago. Also, if he only needed the support of the child, he could have done it from afar and easily could have told me. I would have never been mad at him for something like this and would have helped take care of his son even, but he didn't. Which means that he's tricking me. Honestly, every time I think about this, I feel like I'm about to faint. Because none of it makes any sense. Why would he even do that? Either he found out that he had a child after we started dating and lied to me and hid it he knew from before, which is even crazier. Why would he build a life with me then? This is also the reason behind him not wanting to have a child with me, because he already had one. It makes me so mad thinking why he did this, but I don't want to confront him yet. Guys, can you please give me a bit of advice on what I should do right this second? I'm very confused and I feel like kicking him out of my life immediately, but I want to know everything first. Update number 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last update, and I've been thinking about doing something that might be considered a little crazy. Wow. Okay, but first let me start this by telling everyone why I'm not confronting my husband, right? Well, at first it was because I did not fully know his intentions. But now that I'm not confronting him, this is the best way to move forward. For the people telling me to confront him, if I had done that, I would have made a huge mistake. Although, what I'm planning to do next might as well be the same thing, so let me go ahead and explain. So about 2 days after I wrote my post, I had my husband's phone hacked. Yes, I can find a guy to do anything. It's easy when you have money to spend. The person hacked Rick's phone remotely, and was just waiting and monitoring his calls and messages, hoping to find someone that was going to give me some answers. Well, luckily for me, a few days ago, a friend of his called after a long time, and he had a long conversation with him. It turns out that the friend had been out of the country for a while, so he had not seen Rick for a very long time. When he asked him what he was doing now, Rick explained his situation to the friend, which in turn gave me the opportunity to find out exactly what he was doing. Well, a word of caution to people defending Rick: please stop reading if you want to keep your innocence, because he is not the man we both thought he was. I honestly gave up on him being innocent as soon as I found out about this second family of his. But I still had a little hope for us. Can you blame me? I loved the man. He told his friend that he was married to me while his real love was far away in another city with his child. He very cold-heartedly said that he just married me for money. He made me fall in love because he wanted his family to have a secure future but could not care for me any less. When his friend told me that it was crazy and that he should have just been with me or his girlfriend, he said that sometimes life requires a little bit of a sacrifice. When his friend asked him how he could not feel anything for me after staying with me for so long, he said that his relationship with me was like a job that was going to help secure his and his family's future. So I would say, all in short, he was going to divorce me very, very soon, as he became eligible for getting almost half of what I own. Well, right now, he has a right to about 15% of everything, but I guess that much is not enough. I cannot explain how much it hurt to hear him say all of this. It really broke my heart completely, and this man does not deserve my mercy at all. I also heard him talking to his girlfriend, but he never mentioned me to her. It really seems like she doesn't know anything about this at all, but even if she does, I'm planning on confronting her to hear the truth from her. Do you guys think that it's right for me to do that? Update number 2. Hey, I'm back. So it's been 2 weeks since my last update, and even though I got a lot of mixed responses from you guys, I still decided to go forward with what I planned. The thing is, I was ready for any consequences I would get for my decision. I already knew Rick's intention, so I wanted to make sure what the girlfriend thought before I did anything else. Honestly, it ended up being the right move, as everything worked out well for me. I mean, not at first. So after waiting for about a week, I finally got the chance to go see the girlfriend, Holly. I just straight up went to the house and knocked at the door. When she opened, I told her that I was a colleague of my husband, and she happily let me inside. I asked her a few questions, all of which told me that she did not know a thing. She seemed like a really sweet, innocent woman, and they had full family photos all over the house, which made me very, very sad. Her reaction towards my face told me that she clearly had never seen me, and she did not even react to my name at all. So I dedicated myself to telling her the entire truth. I asked her to please sit down for this one, and told her everything from front to back to all the details about how I discovered her. At first she was pretty shaken up, but she immediately thought that this was a prank until I started showing her photos and proof of our marriage. She obviously had a hard time believing all of this, because unlike me, he actually loved her, and even I had a hard time at first. But all of the proof and my truth did not allow her to think of this as a lie or a plan for revenge. Then came the anger. I expected her to get mad at me for accusing her boyfriend and the father of her child, but she just blew up out of nowhere and tried to blow everything over. She asked me to get the hell out of her house, and I told her that I planned on going, and just asked her to not confront her boyfriend because she gave me a plan, a thought. Yes, I already made a plan in case she did not know anything about his betrayal. I wanted her to help me make his life hell for playing with ours. Also, for those wondering, I did tell her about Rick's conversation with his friend. I told her that he was doing this for her. I just didn't want to lie to her like Rick was doing to us. I wanted her to help me only if she really wanted to, and if she just wanted to forget all of this and move away, well, with him, I was fine with that too. But I was not going to let him get away easily. After I explained everything, she apologized for screaming and politely asked me to leave, and told me that she would simply think about what she wanted to do. Honestly, at this point, I was sure that she was going to tell him everything and that it was over for me. But things, well, worked out in my favor. A few days after that, she calls me and tells me that she wants to do it. When I asked why she said that, when Rick had visited her, she had asked him to tell her the truth if she was hiding anything. And he promised on his child, and now she's ready to do anything to get back at this jerk. It's been about a week since then, and we have come up with a great plan to torment him. See, I want to make Rick understand what it feels like to panic and work hard to keep his plan together only for everything to blow up right in front of his eyes. I'll let you guys know what happens in a few days. Update number 3. Hey, so, get this. It's been over a month, and finally I have a positive update on my life. Yes, things are going well for me, but not for my husband, Rick. Rick has been having a really bad month like me, and Holly has given him generational stress. He's been regretting the day that he decided to play with our lives. I had 3 phases of my revenge, which has been changed to 4 thanks to Holly. I'll tell you about the extra part at the end of the update. So, my plan was simple. I wanted to make up an excuse and bring him as close to his and Holly's home in the city as possible and see him squirm. Then I want to do something similar with her. After that, there was this great reveal, the great dumping of 2024, as I call it. We have already gone through the first 2, and it's just been great. Before I tell you what happened, I want to make this clear. I'm enjoying tormenting him, but it's not making my heart break any better. But on the other hand, I feel no remorse towards him, which makes doing this a whole lot easier than I thought it would. So, about a week after my last update, I made Holly fight with Rick over trivial things, causing a huge argument between them so that he would have no means of communication with her. A few days later, I told him to take a day off and come with me to visit one of my childhood friends who had moved in a little far from our city. I told him it would also serve as a road trip. Well, we traveled, and as we entered his city, I could see him sweating even with the AC on full blast. After we got down close to the market, I told him I wanted to walk, because that way we would have to cross his home to get to my friend's house. As we were walking, he was going crazy and tried his best to divert our route, but I made it so that he had to walk the same road. I think I almost gave him a heart attack when I pointed towards a shop and Holly was standing right outside of it. He lost his marbles and immediately pushed me to rush as he was not feeling well. After that, we visited a friend, which is one of my actor buddies, and we went back. As we left the city, I saw the color come back to his face. The next step was for her to do absolutely the same thing so that he would lose his marbles. So close to 2 weeks later, when Rick was at home chilling with me, he gets a call from Holly that absolutely shocked him to his core. She tells him that she was at his workplace to surprise him and told him the name of the street that is very close to our home. She told him that she lost her way and was tracking him from a Find Your Partner feature. He dropped his drink and almost fell from the stairs as he ran out, telling me it's an emergency. Holly said that she had to hold her laughter as he made up several excuses to take her away. Then before we revealed everything, Holly suggested that we should do something first. She gave me the idea that if I worked, she was going to let me divorce him without giving him anything. I asked her if she was sure about this. She said yes. In a few days, we are going to do that and reveal everything to him. I'll update you guys as soon as possible, I promise this time. Final updates. Hey, it's been a few weeks since my last post, and this is going to be it. Yes, we did everything we planned to, and this is how it all went down. About 2 weeks after my last update, everything was ready, and Holly tricked Rick into assigning a document I had prepared for him. So when Rick went home, she asked him to do something for her. She said that she was giving him a gift and blindfolded him and made him sign a document. She said she needed his sign to get him his gift, but did not want to spoil it. The past few weeks have gone well for Rick, and he obviously trusted his girlfriend, way more than me, so he happily signed it. What he didn't know was that he was signing our divorce papers and was clarifying that he did not want a penny from me. We waited a few days to check it all out and see how it would hold out, and when we got the confirmation, both of us could not wait to dump him. So, about a week later, I called up old Ricky Rick and asked him to come home immediately. He rushes home and was shocked to his very core to see Holly and his son Jin waiting for him. He kept looking at his environment to check if he was at the right house or if this was a nightmare. I then came out and confirmed that it was not, well, and this was real life. A nightmare he was facing, but this is in real time. I told the cute young Jin to go inside and play some games I had kept for him, as I didn't want him to know what kind of person his own father was. Even after a while, Rick could not say a thing. Holly had a sad expression and asked him why he would do this. He looked at me, and I told him I already knew about myself and suggested that he tries to save his real relationship. Then he told her the same thing I had already, that I was an insurance, a tick out of their ordinary life. She slapped him so hard and told him that he had played with both of our emotions. He cried and begged her, and honestly it hurt a little bit, that he still did not care about me at all. But I did, so I told him how much he had hurt me and how much he was going to suffer for playing with me. I told him about the divorce and showed him his packed bag. He then looked at Holly, who told him that she never wanted to see him again and she would make sure Jin forgot who he was. I saw this man's entire being shatter in the instant. Then security dragged him the hell out of there as he screamed Holly and Jin's name. Holly then apologized for everything and thanked me for the help. I let her leave because I knew that she was not going to accept what I had just given her, and I told her right then. A few days later, she calls me asking why I have done what I did. Well, after I made sure that the house they lived in was in the name of Holly, I paid their entire mortgage and left a good sum for Jin to use for the college, or anything he needed. I told her she had helped me too, and weirdly, I felt responsible for Jin too, so my plan had ripped his dad away. After a lot of back and forth, she had to agree and promise to do something for me when I needed her. Her words were enough, but at the end of everything, I still had a broken heart. I've been trying to move on since then, and right now it feels impossible, but I'm sure that I'll be fine. It's going to take some time, I know that, but I will be happy again.